Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Chatarne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha, Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Right, devotees, so we are in the invocation. There are 5 paragraphs. We completed 2 last night, so we'll finish the rest this evening. Let's begin by reading the verse again, the invocation verse. As we said last night, it's a very important verse. And it's just a famous verse throughout the sort of Vedic scholarly realm. Very important verse. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Translation. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he's completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So as we've mentioned already a couple of times, including last night, in the verse itself, the word complete appears 8 times. Complete, completely, basically complete, actually. Yeah. And if you want to try reading to find out, to check, if you read the purport, then you'll see that the term complete appears how many times? What is it? My God, 35 times. 35 times. In other words, the completeness of Krishna is really being emphasized, and there's just no room for any doubt at all. So, yes, so we read the first 2 paragraphs, and they were discussing completeness. Well, first of all, we said something about this word Om or Om. Yes, we gave you references there. You can look into it further. Then we went into the actual purport, and in the first paragraph, the subject of, would you believe, completeness was discussed. How Krishna is the complete absolute truth. Yeah. There are 3 features of the absolute truth: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And Krishna is the Bhagavan feature, and the Bhagavan feature includes Brahman and Paramatma. Although sometimes, of course, they're talked about separately, like they're three separate features of the Absolute. But ultimately, everything is included in Krishna in his Bhagavan feature. Yes, so that was discussed in the first paragraph. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahman is his Sat, eternity feature. Paramatma includes Sat and Chit, which is consciousness, those two features. And Bhagavan includes all, Sat, Chit, and Ananda. And we did give the example because it's in Isopanisad actually later on, how the speakers of Sri Isopanisad, the personified Vedas, when it comes to the last few verses of the Isopanisad, they are approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead in person, but they express that there's a problem in that they can't see the form of the Lord because the form of the Lord is so effulgent, they can't see through the effulgence. And that Brahman feature, that's the effulgence. So it is the effulgence of the body of the Lord, Bhagavan. All right, anyway, we talked about that. And then we went on to the second paragraph, the second aspect of completeness. And that is that the potencies of the Lord are also complete. And even most particularly, the material world, that's a manifestation of the potencies of the Lord. The material world is also complete. And next week, we're going to read a verse which makes that point and sort of expands the point that the material world is so complete in a nice sense because Krishna is very expert. Everything is there to live very nicely and very happily in Krishna consciousness. And the verse says that one may be willing to go on living for many hundreds of years or hundreds of lifetimes. Anyway, when we get there next week, we're going to read that. But for a long time in this world, because it's so complete and very nice in its completeness. And we made the point that when we see incompleteness, then we should know that the arrangements of the Lord have been interfered with. That's the thing. The Lord has made complete arrangements for living very happily and nicely in Krishna consciousness in this world. But sometimes we see, and it's not just sometimes, it's how often is it, that life is so difficult. It's really difficult. And people are struggling. And even many rich people are struggling with taxation and what to speak of diseases and cheating and criminals. It's terrible. It's terrible. Yes, so, okay, anyway, it's like that. That when we see that things are going badly in this world, then we must know that the complete arrangement of the Lord has been interfered with by people who think they're more intelligent than God. And actually, I was going to make a little point or give a little example that going back, first of all, I think in England and in Europe, going back, I don't know, even a couple of hundred years or something, there was industrialization. Before industrialization, there was basically a rural agricultural sort of economy. That's what was going on. And but there was a lot of poor people, the peasants, and they're just living in poverty. But then industrialization started, and one of the many ideas was that now the peasants, who otherwise have just, they're just existing somehow or other, extremely difficult, now they can get regular incomes and maintain themselves, and life will be better. I mean, yeah, for everyone, but including the peasants. But now, today, the workers, the working class, they're struggling. Oh, they're struggling just to make ends meet. So it's just another attempt by the conditioned souls to make more intelligent arrangements than Krishna has made. Yeah. So anyway, that was the second paragraph, that everything is by Krishna's arrangement. Everything can go on very nicely in this material world, in Krishna consciousness, because there is a complete arrangement by the extremely intelligent arrangement of Lord Krishna. So, okay. All right, so let's go on to the last three paragraphs. And in this third paragraph, there is another example given of completeness. Yeah. I mean, basically the whole paragraph, everything is about completeness in one way or another. But there's a relationship from first paragraph to second, then to third. First paragraph, that the absolute truth, God is complete. Second paragraph, by his arrangement, this material world is complete. You don't need to worry about it as long as you follow his ways of living. Now in the third paragraph, Srila Prabhupada explains the third feature of completeness, which is that Krishna has made complete arrangements so that we can go back to him. This is another completeness. Each of these three completenesses is kind of, unique to itself. And this is the third feature of completeness here, that Lord Krishna has given full facilities for everyone to come to him. I'm just going to read, I think, this third paragraph. All facilities are given to the small complete units, namely the living beings, to enable them to realize the complete whole. All forms of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. The human form of life is a complete manifestation of the consciousness of the living being, And it's obtained after evolving through 8,400,000 species of life in the cycle of birth and death. If, in this human life of full consciousness, the living entity does not realize his completeness in relation to the complete whole, he loses the chance to realize his completeness and is again put into the evolutionary cycle by the law of material nature. So this is another form of completeness. This is another form of completeness, another aspect or feature or whatever you'd say, or form of completeness. Yes, so the human form of life is complete manifestation of consciousness. And so therefore the human beings, they have complete facility for becoming completely perfect and completely fulfilling their lives by taking up Krishna consciousness. Yes, so, and the problem is that people don't apply themselves like this. The problem is that they try to enjoy independently rather than taking their position as parts of the complete arrangement. They try to do their own thing independently, separately, and enjoy without reference to the Supreme Lord. And it's just another way of messing things up in this world, so that Krishna's complete arrangement for happiness in this world, in Krishna consciousness, is missed. Really. So in a class on this verse, Srila Prabhupada said, this is an interesting point, just like a big machine, and there is a small screw. So the complete facility, completeness of that small screw is to become fitted in the particular place. Then it has got value. And if it is out of touch with the machine, Prabhupada says, if it falls down, it has no value. Some little screw lying on the floor, they may just sweep it up in the evening when everyone goes home. So, complete facility is there. Just yourself dovetail into that hole. In other words, we are like the little screw, and there's a little place for us in Krishna's plan, Krishna's arrangement. There's a special place where we just fit in very nicely, and then it's very wonderful. We can please Krishna so much. Krishna will be so happy with us, and therefore we will be so happy. And it's just so wonderful. But otherwise, if we just fall down into this material world, then just some little living entity, what you going to do with it? As they say sometimes, a throwaway person. Just, what use? What use do we have for you? Yeah. So just like the screw, if it falls down, then it's useless. They may just throw it away. So we also may sort of get thrown away if we're not in our proper position where we fit in, where we belong nicely in Krishna's plan, in Krishna's program of devotional service. So Prabhupada continues that when the screw is put in its place nicely, then it makes the whole machine runs nicely. When a screw is lost, you have to purchase from the store at the cost of $2. In other words, it's not a big thing. And when it's fallen down, it's not even worth 1 cent. The same screw. Sweep it up, throw it away. Yeah. So this is the situation. And the thing is that, Prabhupada has not exactly mentioned it specifically here, but the thing is this: for us to get out of our entanglement, then we need to get Krishna's mercy. Prabhupada says, this is in a class on this invocation. So if you want to get out of this entanglement, there's complete arrangement facility. Complete facility. Tesham sadati yuktanam bhajatam priti purvikam. There's another verse that those who are engaged in devotional service, Krishna says, I take personal charge for their maintenance. This is complete arrangement. Just look to the karmi world. So far we're concerned, we have to pay rent, $2,000 for this house, and we have to spend another $2,000 for our maintenance. So $4,000, $5,000 we're spending. Can any karmi depend like that? Take practical example. Can they depend? Will they be able to pay $5,000 without any work? Because we are not working. We are not working in that sense. So, if the person has no income, just no income at all, is he going to rent a house for $5,000 a month? Extremely unlikely. Extremely unlikely. Prabhupada says that they will not be able to sleep at night. They'll be in so much anxiety. Yeah. But we are freely moving around because we're sure Krishna will provide, and he is providing. Go anywhere in the karmi's world. Find out such nice place like our temple. There is none. Whole Los Angeles city you cannot find. Such beautiful faces, such bright faces, you cannot find anywhere. So this is complete facility. If you want to take advantage of your life, Krishna consciousness, then there is complete facility. Okay, now devotees. Well, anyway, the point is that it's going on by Krishna's mercy. It's going on by Krishna's mercy. So we have a special question for those of you doing Bhakti Shastri. We have a special question. So there's I don't know if I read it last night, maybe not the whole thing, but let me read. It's part of Prabhupada's class on this invocation from 1970. Let me just read it. There is complete facility because Puranam, whatever is done by Krishna, that is complete. You cannot find out any flaw in it. His potencies are so complete that swabhaviki jnana balakriya cha. Just like a child, if you laugh, immediately crying response. I mean, I think he means the child will laugh. So these things are not to be learned swabhaviki, automatically. Yeah, automatically things are going on by Krishna's arrangement. So, if you can find this class on April the 27th, 1970 in Los Angeles, good for you. Otherwise, you better write this down now, because I don't know where you're going to find it afterwards if you don't have Prabhupada's books on computer. Okay, so Prabhupada says, there is complete facility because Purnam, whatever is done by Krishna, that is what? Complete. Because Purnam means complete. There's complete facility because Purnam, whatever is done by Krishna, that is complete. You cannot find out any flaw in it. His potencies are so complete. Well, okay. You cannot find out any what? Flaw in it. Make a note. His potencies are so what? Complete. Swabhaviki jnana balakriya cha. Yeah. So I hope you got that. Whatever's done by Krishna, that is complete. You cannot find out any what in it. You cannot find out any flaw in it. His potencies are so what? Complete. Yes. So you better note that down if you're doing the Bhakti Shastri. Okay, so and this is Krishna's mercy. It's Krishna's mercy. It's so important that all this whole idea of completeness in different ways, in the absolute truth, in the material world, and in facilitation for going back to Godhead. All these different types of completeness, they are there. How, why, where did they come from? They're given by Krishna. They're Krishna's mercy. And if it wasn't for Krishna's mercy, then we would be stuck. We would just be stuck. We wouldn't really know what to do. We wouldn't know what to do. And our lives would be extremely difficult. So we have, when we're thinking about the completeness is of different types with different circumstances, we must remember that Krishna is behind all of this. It's not just happening. And Krishna is not just behind it in like a mechanical sense, like he's working, getting things done. But it's Krishna's mercy. Out of his kindness, he's offering us facility. Yeah, it's very nice. So, okay, so we read the special question, and would you believe we have two more? Yes, this evening. So let's go on to the fourth paragraph. And it's following on from the third paragraph and from the second paragraph, that because people don't know that there are complete arrangements for maintenance in this world, then people make their own independent efforts to try to facilitate themselves. Actually, all facility is provided by Krishna if you're going to practice Krishna consciousness properly. But if you're just in an independent type of consciousness, then you'll be thinking, and you'll have to try to make your own program to facilitate yourself and make yourself complete in some way or another. Yeah. So this is going on in material life. And the problem is that if we try to facilitate ourselves independently, the problem is that it's artificial, it's illusory, it's not natural, it's not how things work. And therefore, if we try to do it, it won't work. You know, sometimes we give the people give the example of trying to push a square peg into a round hole. And, you know, to get it in nicely so it's there very comfortably and nicely, you can't really do it. Either it's too big, or you just can't get it in at all, or maybe it's too small, so you put it in, but it falls through because it's too small, and it just doesn't work. Srila Prabhupada gave, well, we can mention two examples. One is an example Prabhupada gives here in this fourth paragraph about the hand. The hand of a body is a complete unit only as long as it's attached to the complete body. When the hand is severed from the body, it may appear like a hand, but it actually has none of the potencies of a hand, isn't it? You know, I imagine you've heard the sort of, it's like a saying, can you lend a hand? Could you give a hand? And if someone came along and went, you know, yeah, sure, you can have it. Wow. Well, obviously it's crazy. But, you know, now you've got the person's hand which is being cut off, but you can't do anything with it. It's not like when it's in its normal position, then, yeah, I'm sure the person with his hand could help you in many ways. But he would just take the hand. That's Prabhupada. It's a good example. It appears like a hand, but it has none of the potencies of a hand. And it's disgusting, actually. Ugh. And if you leave it, it'll just rot. It'll just rot and be horrible. But when it's left on the body in the right place, then your hand, well, my hand, you know, it's almost 70 years old. It's still useful. I still do many things every day with this hand. Yeah. So, because it's connected to the complete whole in the natural way. Yes. Another example which Prabhupada gave is of a fish taken out of water. It's relevant. The fish is out of its, you could say, natural situation, out of its natural position, and I don't know, maybe the fish would think that, look at all these people, look at these big houses they've got. I don't have any house. I just swim in the water. And look, they got nice clothes. Look, they got nice televisions. They got nice motor cars. I got nothing. They got money. I've got nothing. So I want to come out of the water and live like them. But as soon as the fish comes out of water, even if you give him loads of money, nice house, few motor cars, etc., etc., it will not help the fish at all. Simply because the fish is in an unnatural position. You could say an incomplete situation. He has his complete situation, living in water, but out of the water, his situation is incomplete and his life becomes incomplete. And Prabhupada concludes the paragraph by saying, similarly, living beings are part and parcel of the complete whole. And if they're severed from the complete whole, the illusory representation of completeness cannot fully satisfy them. I can give another example of the hand, and it's a little different, but it's also given by Prabhupada, and it's a nice example of the hand. Prabhupada tells the story about one hand, that one hand decided, or one hand started feeling bad, that I put all this food in the mouth, I get none. I get nothing. I've been doing it for years, every day, a few times a day. And I have got nothing. It all goes into the mouth, and the mouth gets all the enjoyment. So the hand decided, Prabhupada says, the hand decided, okay, from today, I am not going to put the food in the mouth. I am going to take the food myself. And so he started doing that, or trying to do that, somehow trying to squeeze the food in. Not easy to do, but that was his program. I'm going to enjoy it. And he put none in the mouth, and for a few days he's trying somehow or other to consume it himself. But then after those few days, the hand noticed that he was not feeling so good. He was not feeling strong like he would normally feel. In fact, he became very sort of lethargic and fatigued. And so then he thought, all right, let me put the food back in the mouth again and let's see if it helps. So again, he started putting the food back in the mouth, and sure enough, what did he find? That quickly he was feeling good again. He was like a strong hand again. And the point is, it's such a good point, Prabhupada's so expert, that he thought that I will get enjoyment by consuming the food myself. You could say that it seems obvious that you take it yourself, you get the enjoyment. But it doesn't work. You have to serve. What you have to do in principle, you can say, what you have to do is feed or serve the complete whole, the complete unit. And then you, as a small part of the greater complete whole, then that is the best thing for you. It's the best thing for you, even though you are not getting, whatever is enjoyable. Yes. So similarly, if we, just in a general sense, if we try to enjoy life ourselves, oh yes, do this and get that and enjoy and experience and all that, thinking that it's obvious, that's how I'll become happy. But it's not. You don't become happy. In fact, you encounter a lot of frustration and difficulty trying to live in this world independently from Krishna. But as soon as you serve Krishna wholeheartedly and you don't worry about yourself, then everything becomes nice for you. And that's what the devotees find. By engaging in devotional service, even though we're not getting paid, but our lives are very nice. Okay. Yes, so now, devotees, would you believe? There's another special question. Haribol. And again, it's from a conversation of Prabhupada's. And if you've got access to Prabhupada's books and everything on computer, I assume you can find it. If you don't have, Haribol, then you better note things down right now as I'm reciting it all. So this is it's from a class of Prabhupada's, April 28, 1973 in Los Angeles. If you've got Prabhupada's books on computer, make a note of that. April 28, 1973, Los Angeles. Okay. So Prabhupada says, Krishna, you have given so many things for our maintenance. This much acknowledgement Krishna wants. That's all. Otherwise, what can he expect from you? What are you in his presence? Prasad. Prasad means acknowledging. That's interesting. Prasad means acknowledging that Krishna, you have given us this foodstuff. So first of all, you taste, then we take this much. Krishna is not eating. He's not hungry, but he's eating. He's not hungry. He can eat the whole world and again produce it as it is. That is Krishna's power. Purnat Purnam Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vishishyate. Prabhupada's referring to the invocation. Krishna is so perfect that you take from Krishna whole Krishna's energy. You take everything from Krishna. Still, the original energy is there. That is conservation of energy. That's a good one. That's conservation of energy. You take from Krishna the whole of Krishna's energy. Still the original energy is there. So, okay, so that's our thing, right? Now, here we go. Here's the question. In a conversation, oh, well, it's apparently a conversation then. In a conversation between Prabhupada and a disciple, which was mentioned in class just now, regarding Krishna, his energy, and real conservation of energy, with which disciple did Srila Prabhupada have this conversation? Whoa, hey. Oh my gosh. It doesn't say. It doesn't say. I think you are meant to look it up. Krishna, Krishna. Is it Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Maharaj? Is it, catch this, is it Radha Govinda Swami Maharaj? Is it Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj? Is it Giriraj Swami Maharaj? You got to look this up, I tell you. I did not make this special question. The correct answer is Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. So you better note that down. We're really testing you here. All right, so now we come to the fifth and final paragraph. And, you know, everything's sort of summed up, you could say. Everything's summed up, okay. So, well, let's just read the paragraph. It's just 3 sentences. The completeness of human life can be realized only when one engages in the service of the complete whole. All services in this world, whether social, political, communal, international, or even interplanetary, will remain incomplete until they are dovetailed with the complete whole. When everything is dovetailed with the complete whole, the attached parts and parcels also become complete in themselves. Okay. So when everything is dovetailed with the complete whole, means being engaged in the service of the complete whole, then all the different parts and parcels, including us, become complete in themselves. So devotees, we've got another special question, Haribol. And this one is a little more practical. This is in reference to Srimad Bhagavatam 3:25. In fact, it is the verse. You note it down, please. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:25. So we quote the verse. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. That's an interesting verse. So, okay, so the question, here's the question. You've got to put in place certain words which, as we read the question now, they're not there. So in the what? Discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very what to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one what on the path of liberation, and therefore he's freed, and his attraction becomes fixed, then real devotion and devotional service begin. So what's the answer? In the what? Discussion of the pastimes and activities. In the association of pure devotees. So such discussion is very what? Pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one what? Gradually becomes advanced. Okay. So you note those things down, all right? All right, so let us conclude by reading an excerpt from Srila Prabhupada, So, Srila Prabhupada said, why do they say that God should have created in a certain way? What he has created is already perfect. And now this is interesting. You'll have to listen to this. Please listen carefully. Because you are perfect, you have the independence to misuse. Oh, let me read that again. Because you are perfect, you have the independence to misuse. Wow, that's interesting. You are not a dead stone. That is perfection. Yayata mam prapajante. You can go anywhere. Sarvaga. You can go to Vaikunta. Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. You can go to the heavenly planets. You can go to hell. When you go to hell, it is your choice. God has given you all perfection. Purnamidam, Purnam Adaya, Purnat Purnam Udachade. Everything is complete, perfect. And because you are perfect, you have independence. But by misusing that independence, you are imperfect. Again, reviving your independence, you can become perfect. Although you are imperfect now, that is the Krishna consciousness movement. The Krishna consciousness movement means raising the imperfect to the perfect platform. That is Krishna consciousness. Other fools say, we are perfect now. Although they are in a fallen condition, they think they are perfect. That is Maya. Rakshasim asurim chaiva, prakritim mohinim shrita. Krishna has made you perfect. There is no doubt about it. Just like some of our students, all of a sudden they deviate, go away. So what is that? Either our movement is imperfect or they are imperfect. Hare Krishna. Okay, devotees. Thank you very much for listening very attentively. We will carry on same time on Monday afternoon, South African time, same time. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.